Welcome, one and all, to another episode of the New Dad Rock. This week, we are going to be talking about country.
Does anyone in your household listen to country?
Yeah, it's kind of a funny story about my daughter.
Oh, okay. Well, which one?
The 16-year-old. You would not believe what I caught her doing this week.
Oh, boy.
So anyway, so what happens is I go upstairs. She's in her room. It's early evening. She might have had plans to go out, like kids go out, like 2 or 3 of them go for a bike ride or a walk.
Yeah.
Social distancing and all. So I go upstairs, and I don't even know what to say, man.
Yeah. I'm not sure this is that podcast either.
But she was listening to country music.
And?
I felt like I'd failed as a father. I was like, no, what have I done? What have I done?
Well, what song was it? Do you know? Do you know the artist?
I have no idea. It was, one of those like modern country songs, like going out in the sun and drinking beer and feeling up some booze.
Was it a man or a woman singing? That's all.
It was a guy.
I have.
It was a guy.
Okay, gotcha. Cool, man. Yeah, I checked. So I think I listen to Tidal on my phone. I'm one of the 5% of people who use Tidal. I think it's great. And for the first time ever, I saw a playlist near the top that said most listened to. So I think they're either A/B testing something, or there's a new algorithm, or someone finally like, hey, you know who we should give them is a most played list. I was both excited and terrified by my playlist. That's all I'm going to say there.
Wait, they give it for you as a user or like the overall site?
Yeah, for me as a user. And I guess the reason I bring it up is because at least a quarter of it was country.
Wow. That's very interesting and a little bit disturbing to me.
I'd say at least a third of it was definitely hip hop or rap, and if not like 40% or more.
Yeah. You're much more diverse than me. Living in the city as you do.
Sure. It could literally been like, once I heard Juice WRLD, I was already listening to rap, but Juice WRLD is what drove a lot of those. And then I went to other stuff that SoundCloud rap or whatever you want to call it. But anyway, that's an aside. So do you like country?
I have a bit of a weird relationship. I tend to admire it from afar, maybe.
I was going to say, when did you get into it? But then I realized you never got into it. So, what's your, I don't know, when did you first hear it?
I mean, you've just heard country your whole life. I mean, going back to being a little kid in the 70s, growing up, it was just on all the time. Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson and all that kind of stuff.
I realized that Kenny Rogers' 8 tracks is probably my country origin story. Like a 1977 blue Capri car. My mom got her driver's license finally. And, man, the Gamblers played a lot. Long Arm of the Law.
Yeah, you got to know when to hold them.
Seriously. So, yeah, I wasn't in the country at all until the last, couple years when my friend Claire got me into it. She took her and her team and me to, we all visited Austin together. And did karaoke one night, and everyone was getting into it. It's the first time I learned to like karaoke too, but also a lot of country music. As we're walking around Austin those 3 days, country music everywhere at the tailgating party before the long UT game. Amazing. So that's when I really got into country 2 years ago. So I was 40 something already, and then I had friends at work who somehow I never asked or I never noticed, or they said something and I caught on. But they were basically in a country. So with one, it was James Aldean we were talking about, Rearview Town. And then there was another person, JT, and she liked some of the more of the poppier stuff. And she'd go to, check this out. Okay, maybe you know this, Coachella, right? But yeah. Coachella for country. What is it called?
What are these bands though?
Wait, what is it called?
I don't
Coachella,
know.
But for country.
I have no idea what.
It's held at Coachella.
What do they call it?
It's called Stagecoach.
Okay.
Perfect. It's a great name. I'm sorry, that's why I was so excited. But anyway, 2 weeks after Coachella happens in April in the same valley, they do Stagecoach, which is literally 40 country bands, every popular song. So anyway, I got into it recently.
Yeah, it's interesting because there are a million different variations on country.
You gotta know when to hold 'em. What country did you know?
America.
America?
I went to the desert on a horse with no name.
Oh, yeah. Wait, isn't that Neil Young?
No, that's America.
Oh, America's the name of the band. Oh.
Dude.
I don't know much about country.
No, I mean, country was always around in the background. Like, my uncles listened to country. But, I mean, you started talking about your friends and listening to, you know, a lot of modern country and a lot of pop country. There are bands that I like that have a country-ish swagger to them and probably have played at Stagecoach. People like Woods, I'm sure, have done that.
Oh, maybe, yeah. The reason I like country music now, and I gotta say it's mostly popular country, probably like Billboard 100 or something, like might creep into the top charts, which are mostly hip hop these days. But I was like, finally, after like, I don't know, 6 months of this, I was like, it sounds like the music I listened to in the 80s on cassette tape when I was a newspaper boy. Like, You Lose in the News, Survivor. I don't know why. I mean, it's not exactly the same, but the stories are the same. Like, boy loves girl.
Well, that's hilarious because my wife's older cousin, Lisa, she's a couple years older than us. She was a big, like, hair metal fan in the 80s, and now she loves country, and she said the exact same thing. This is, like, going back 5, maybe 10 years ago, she said it. She's like, it's the same music.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, it's good, musical instrument-wise even, right? Like guitars and drums and stuff, and, like, the lyrics.
Well, think of it. Mutt Lange, who produced, like, Def Leppard and I think Whitesnake, a lot of the popular hair metal bands in the 80s, married Shania Twain. You know, maybe he brought a bit of his influence over into the country realm. I think Def Leppard did a Crossroads mashup with,
for sure,
with some country band. I mean,
yeah,
people smarter than me know this.
Totally. What really finally grabbed me, like, and I like the popular music part, and it's like slowed down, like you said, ballads and love stories and dance songs, but they're poppy and catchy and short. But like, I like the diversity within the lyrics and the storytelling, because all the stories are, I don't know, the same, but somehow it's like haikus. Like, you're like, how could this such constrained format deliver such diversity? And it's awesome. It's awesome.
I guess I only have so much time in the day to listen to it. I mean, I can probably tell you more about some nuances in different noise rock bands. There are definitely bands, again, that I listen to that are country-ish. Ween put out an entire album about country music with legitimate country artists from Nashville, including the Jordanaires, who backed up Elvis.
Yeah, I think it was called 12 Golden Classics.
12 Golden Country Greats.
Either way, there's only 10 songs on it. That's why I like the title.
Yeah, there are 2 others that are out there as well. And then, you know, like Hank Williams Sr., I have one of his records. It's fun to put on, like, and it was my daughter who said this. She's like, I like listening to country music, like, at the beach. And, you know, Hank Williams is nice to listen to in the summer, you know, when it's nice and hot and humid out. Are you being infiltrated by a child?
I was. Even worse was he was super cool on the way in, like gave me a shish sign, walked. He's grabbing a book, I think. I must be lying. No, he put a computer back is what happened. Yeah. And he came in and he showed us. But on the way I was like, are you recording? And I can't hear him, so I lean in and I started paying attention to him, and it got me confused. And then when I finally got to the answer of yes, I am recording, I realized I was like, loser. Like, I'm recording. I should just wave them away. But anyway, my bad. So, luckily, the thing is, you can actually go to the country songs themselves and find out what makes you country. So, in the words of Luke Bryan, people talking about what it is and what ain't country, what gives them the right to wear a pair of beat-up boots, is it the size of your tires and your fires or your wild-ass buddies? Well, give me a minute. Let me hit you with some hometown truth. And then he goes through, like, different professions people had, basically. Like, are you a cowboy on the Texas plain or a plowboy waiting on the rain? And he says everyone's a little different, everyone's a little the same, but everyone's doing their own thing. Anyways, it ends with, like, do your kind of country, I'll do my kind of country, we can all do our own kinds of country. So I like how it's both very specific, but also very, like, open. And that's...
Yeah, I'm going to take his advice and I'm going to like my own thing, and I'm going to think maybe bands that are, I guess, more kind of Americana. Uh-huh. Like Caliphone or Tom Waits, a very they don't play a lot of steel guitar, but there is that kind of blues rhythm of the steel guitar, the Cajun spice of rhythm there. But I kind of like that darker stuff. You know, Johnny Cash, of course, is always fun. The Man in Black, and then you get into some of the newer guys.
Are you a Peck fan?
A Pecker fan?
No. Yeah. No. Do you know Orville Peck? Do you like him? Are you a fan of Peck?
He's that guy. Is that what he goes by?
Orville Peck.
I know he's Orville Peck, but like, do you just say Peck, like Beck or something?
No, I was just doing that now. Sorry.
Okay, that was like you threw me off. Oh, yeah, Orville Peck. He's that.
Well, because I'm a real big Pecker fan.
He's sort of country, but he's from Toronto, right?
Oh yeah.
Or all over. I think he's from Toronto or something. Anyway, he's dresses like a cowboy and has worn a mask since before it was cool, and he plays sort of country.
Yeah, and I think he's someone else somehow. Like, I don't know. For some reason, I think he had a career before of some sort. And like he said, he put the mask on and he feels more liberated to play what he wants to play, which is this kind of like, oh my God, it's like the most pure pop country sound. I love his...
I mean, he to me sounds a lot like Glenn Danzig. Maybe a little Roy Orbison and Chris Isaak.
Right.
There's this indie band from England from the turn of the century, I guess we'll call it. The Flaming Stars, late 90s, early 2000s.
Uh-huh.
They weren't that big, but very similar sound. I don't think it's pop country. I feel like it's more of a maybe 2/3 of the songs are country, but some of it would fit right in at the Roadhouse at the end of Twin Peaks. You remember they'd always have a musical guest at the end play a song at the Roadhouse?
Yeah. That's fair. At some point, music transcends any genre to me, and like this is sort of that. Like he's coming out of this country vibe, but it's like he's just, oh man, it just reminds me of so much different kinds of music. And music that I'm forgetting, so I can't even name it.
I mean, what he reminds me of, okay, he's admittedly gay. He
really?
Went as he went as Diplo's date to the Grammys last year. Like he's openly gay. Sweetheart of the Rodeo is his song, and it's a drag queen going to the rodeo.
No way.
So he's very popular in the LGBT,
that's awesome,
et cetera, community. And he reminds me a bit of like Sheer Mag.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you know them. They kind of have that like Cheap Trick, adult-oriented rock, the AOR sound to them, a little bit like Scissor Sisters did with glam music and, whatever the fuck Ghost is doing in, the supposedly evil metal or something.
Wait, Ghost, the Japanese band?
No, Ghost, they're Swedish.
That's right, the one with the priest who dies every tour or whatever.
He's like the Pope conscious, whatever.
Dude, we should talk about them someday. I'll give you that. I gotta tell you something. Literally, honest to God truth. I didn't know he was gay until you said right now. Like, I've read a bunch of the literature, which is cool. If they're not mentioning it, like, I don't care at all.
Look at his videos. Like, he's very open about it. I don't know. Like, you mentioned it.
Are you serious? I live in San Francisco. Yeah. You live in New York. Maybe it's obvious in New York and totally not obvious in San Francisco. Oh, that's amazing. All right. Anyway, I don't want to harp on that. That's total surprise to me. That's why we do this show. I learn stuff. I mean, I listen to his music like all the time. And I gotta say, it was my my country friend at work. He's not really into country. He's more total straight up rockabilly. Got the cool hair.
He's a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll.
Totally.
Donny Osmond coming at you, baby.
He's the one who said James Aldean, Riverview Town. And, yeah. And I think the reason we were even talking this at all is because I was talking about like a rap country crossover, which I forget now, but if I went back.
Fucking Old Town Road.
Oh, hell yeah. Dude. Luckily, that is not the top played song on my top played songs because Jasper has a playlist on my 10-year-old has a playlist on Tidal. So it's like this.
I'll tell you what's brilliant about that song is it's like, what is it? Is it 2 minutes long? Maybe it's 2:14. Like, that's the thing. You can play it and then play it again, and people are still into it because it was over so quick.
I agree. Panini, which is another one of his songs, came out later. It was his second big song, I think. That's in my top 50 because of Jasper. Anyway, he came back with a pretty good song. It's awesome. But yeah, Orville Peck's new songs. Have you heard the last couple? Is there an album dropping soon?
I have Apple Music, and there are 2 songs from the new album available in there.
Totally. And they're both amazing. Which I like the second one better than the first one. I like this first one's called Summertime. That's the one where he's crawling on the ground. Interesting. I can't believe Pitchfork and Stereo Gum and anything else I read let me down. Didn't tell me everything. That's good. That's good. It wasn't even important.
It wasn't on those sites?
You know, maybe my reading comprehension has gotten down in my old age. I don't know.
Well, the funny thing was you had said something about them the other day, and I can't remember. It was Brooklyn Vegan either had something the day before or the day after you said it to me. And I was like, oh, yeah, I know. Like, it must have been like a day or 2 before you said it, because I'm like, oh, yeah, I know that guy, because I just read about him.
Exactly. Same way I must have come across him. So, cool, man.
Yeah, come across him. That's a fucking, now you know.
Dude, the one thing I haven't gotten through, like, I did have a Bob Dylan moment, you know, Pink Floyd moment, Led Zeppelin moment, Doors, like, classic rock, classic dad rock in a way. One person I haven't ever really been able to get into, and I know I should, and I think I will one day, is Willie Nelson. I don't know anything about him.
Well, Willie Nelson is, I mean, his career is like, what, 60, 70 years at this point? Like, how do you even get into that? Like, I remember when I was a kid growing up, like I said, country music was always in the background when I was growing up. You Were Always on My mind. I loved that song. I think I was in 3rd grade. I was like, I love this song.
Oh my God.
That was such a great song.
So, and that's how I came to the Beatles and the Doors and Pink Floyd in a lot of ways. Is like when you finally hear their music, you're like, oh, you're all these songs on the radio from when I was a kid. I didn't know who it was. So Willie Nelson probably has a bunch of those songs. Just like that band America you mentioned.
No, America, I think, pretty much has that one song.
Dude, I'm just saying, country music is huge.
It's like rock and pop and dance and hip hop
and metal.
There's all these sorts of subgroups. No, but I'm saying everyone will say metal, everyone will say pop, but when you say each of these, there are so many other subgroups, and you don't necessarily think of that with country, but there really are, and there are definitely streams. Like, I didn't even mention like Graham Parsons and a lot of those guys from the 70s.
It's just everything. It's a whole country of sounds.
Yeah. I mean, labels suck. Just listen to the music. You know, it's fine to say that this sounds like this or that reminds me of that, but judge it on its merits.
I think that has applications outside of just music.
Yeah. It's called empathy. Anyway, thanks for listening to us this week. Have a, wonderful day, morning, afternoon. What time do you listen to this? Hit me up in the DMs.
Good night, America.
and the rest of the world, not just America, dude. We're international. We're going global.